you guys have to stop messaging me. Seriously. I love you guys, but you need to stop messaging me. So we're going to solve this in today's video. We're on this beautiful lake. I get all these messages from you guys like, bro, I know you love a Texas rig, but have you thrown a free rig? And I'm like, is it really that different? And they're like, yes, it is. Number one, I think you guys know, I get the MonsterBass Box, the Platinum Box. Get it every month. It's a way for me to stay kind of fresh. Total sidebar, tested this thing in the pool. It's freaking naughty, dude. So one thing that came in the August bag that I really like is this. I'm always a sucker for cool worms. This is a grande bass worm, and the best part about this worm is it's freaking pink. I'm finally going to try a free rig. We're on a lake, it's got grass, it's got brush piles, it's got like limestone and like hard spots, shell bar kind of things. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna rig up a free rig. I'm gonna show you how to rig it up, and we're gonna try it in all those contexts and see if it works with my my grande bass pink worm that I got out of my MonsterBass box. So hit that like and subscribe button. No idea if this is gonna work, but I'm finally, thanks to you guys and the 39 to 400 messages you sent me, I'm finally gonna try a free rig. It's hot as balls, dude. Let's get this thing rigged up, homie. So setup I got is my standard worm setup. It's a 7-foot medium heavy Halo XD3. Got a little Shimano SLX. I think it's actually the 8.2, the speed, a little high speed, because we're worming, dude. Like in general, like that's what we're doing. Basically, you use a little tungsten. You can use lead. You could use like a barrel swivel kind of like sinker. But I got the tungsten ones. This one's 3/8 because we're going to be dragging around, fishing deep, fishing like 6 to probably 20 feet, 6 to 18 feet. That eyelet is open instead of having that little crimper on there for the end of your line. And rigging is pretty straightforward, right? So you slide your line through it. And the whole concept of the free rig is it slides up and down. It's not restricted. There's no pegging involved. And then I just got a little just standard O'Shaughnessy kind of one hook, you know, little, I think it's like 4-aught or a 3-aught. And I'm going to tie a Palomar on there. Can't remember if I'm running 15 or 17 fluorocarbon, but I didn't want to go too light, even if I'm fishing around cover. I think part of the deal with this is the bait, when you drag it, like it elevates the bait off the bottom, right? And if you have like big, heavy, gunky line, like it's gonna kind of like drag a lot. So I wanted to kind of be like free floating, like the free rig. Everything's about being free, right? So I want it to be free floating and have a lot of kind of natural movement to it. I'm not gonna go super light. I need something to cover me for like a little bit of cover, but at the same time, I don't want to restrict the action on the bait. So we're gonna tie that thing on, clip off that tag end, but I'm gonna grab this guy. It is literally one big pink ribbed ribbon tail worm. We're going old school with this. So we're trying a new school technique with an old school bait, but I like the fact that it's pink. And then I'm just gonna Texas rig this thing and slide it on there because there is a little bit of grass and kind of cover on the bottom in that. And this will be our rig. It's pretty, it seems pretty simple. Whether it makes like this huge difference when it comes to worming, I'm about to find out. I'll tell you right off the bat, the way this thing feels compared to a Texas rig, the way it like kind of grazes across the bottom versus like digging in like a bullet head, it's a totally different feel. Whether you go like up with the rod and like pop it like that, or whether you freaking drag it like that. And he dropped it. Well, it was a bass, right? I actually got one, and a pretty darn good one. Get in here. A lot of things happen there, guys. Hey there, bud. So that's a nice 2.5 pounder. I took this thing and took it out to, there's some brush out here, and it's really weird to feel bites. And basically, I think it went over, and then that weight dropped, but then the bait kind of like slowly settled as it went over the brush. And dude, she absolutely freaking hammered it. Those bites feel a lot different because you have so much slack line and they can kind of pull the line, and you don't have that sort of, that I don't know, that solid baseline of where the weight is, and then you can feel them kind of pulling. It's a much more finesse style feel to that bite. That was weird. There she is. That's a great freaking big one. Oh dear. Dude, that one just clocked it. I felt her freaking just take the slack out of the line. Oh, she's blind. That's probably why I caught her. Bro, blind, big old bass. She smoked it. Oh, that was kind of cool. Old pinky works. I knew it would. There's a lot of shad in this lake, and let me clean off that lens. There's a lot of shad in this lake, and a lot of times this morning dawn pink color looks a lot like a bait fish. Can we catch another? That bite is so weird. I don't know if I like this. Okay, thus far, full disclosure, I do not like the freaking free rig. It seems kind of pointless to me, and I'm missing bites. I caught a couple off the brush pile, but it's not meant for that. Like, this is more of an open water style rig, so you could throw a Texas rig and kind of do the same thing without like a, you know, a bobber stopper kind of thing. Just leave that sinker to kind of free float. So what I'm gonna do, I have another monster bass bag. I get the impression that these fish are kind of like targeting some smaller, more finesse stuff. You know, it's late summer, early fall, but the water temp is still super duper like bath water, right? Like it's hot tub 2.0. These are the V&M Slim Wild, basically a trick style worm, your classic finesse style worm. Green pumpkin, super thin, and I'm gonna target, there's some little like hard spots, like little limestone bars and stuff. I'm gonna go drag around on those and see if this does make a difference when it comes to the open water fishing. I know I can catch them on a Ned rig in that with this, like with a worm style rig with a Ned rig. I just don't know if this free rig's gonna perform to the level that I want it to, because right now I freaking hate it, dude. Just totally being honest. Finally, that might be a good one. Oh yeah, that's a great freaking big one. Okay. Oh, dude, I didn't even know you were on there. Come here, big Galapagos. You are angry, bro. Okay. Caught one in open water on the free rig. We had to switch worms and go down to a little more finesse worm, but that makes perfect sense. It's just that time of year when they want that straight tail worm. That's a great big one. We want to get her back though. That was beautiful. Back you go. Let's try it again. Got you. I actually saw a little group of fish right next to the boat here, and I just pitched it down, and I think that's the highlight of where this bait is kind of fire compared to a Texas rig, is when you're kind of like pitching it out there to some of these fish, and the bait's kind of like staying above where the weight's going to the bottom, and then that bait just kind of hovers above and gradually drops on pretty much like a slack line, like no tension until you actually pull on it. So that's kind of one of the arts, is when you actually get it in the water, is let it kind of settle on its own, because a lot of those bites I'm getting now are kind of on that initial drop. Oh dear. Oh dear. That's another big one, dude. That is another great big one. Oh no. All right, we can get her out. It's one thing that I'm super concerned about with this rig is like you can't feel them grab it very well, and sometimes that leads to, we gotta do surgery, them getting that hook really deep, and I don't like that, dude. I don't like gut hooking fish. I don't like taking a chance of hurting the fish that I love so much. It's just not not what I... There we go. All right, we gotta get her back. Get back down there, she'll be all right. I don't know, it's just one of those things where, yeah, you might get a few extra bites doing something, because they're jumping behind me, but I'm super anal, dude, about keeping these fish okay. Guys just don't seem to care enough anymore. I will try to make this as short and as concise as possible. I hate the free rig. I don't see any value in it whatsoever. I do see like a couple little things, but I'm gonna go with my hates first. So I hate the fact that I really struggle to feel bites. It's very difficult. The other thing is it leads to gut hooking fish. I don't like that. I gut hooked like I think a little guy, and then that big one was hooked pretty deep. I got her out clean. She swam down. I think she's okay. I think this on a spinning rod with like maybe an 1/8 ounce, a 16th ounce, shallow flats, you know, anywhere from 2 to say like 6 foot, 7 foot if the water's ultra clear, little finesse hook, little finesse bait, maybe even like an elastic bait on a spinning rod with braid fluorocarbon. I think that's something, especially come spring, that would be super viable. So I bought some specific terminal for this thing. There's a little basically pencil weight right there. And then it's a standard kind of O'Shaughnessy hook, but that pencil weight, the tungsten pencil weight was pretty expensive, dude. And it's, the whole trick is it has that little like O-ring to it so it doesn't scrape the line like your drop shot rigs. I did see online you can take like a split ring pliers and open up drop shot weights to do this, but it's super sketchy and you can nick the line and stuff. So carrying a whole nother arsenal of like terminal weight stuff doesn't make sense to me. I'll put it this way. Most of the reactions I could have got with a Ned rig or a Texas rig without a bobber stopper. Just having the bait be kind of free flowing. I do think there was something to going to the trick worm for all my Florida guys. That V&M that I had in that MonsterBass box definitely outperformed, even though I love it, Old Pinky. Pinky is super cool, and that's probably maybe like a June, July kind of ledge thing. But right now, late summer, it's not cutting it. We need something more finesse. These fish have seen a lot of baits. You need that straight tail deal. I don't like the bottom connection I'm getting with it either. I dragged across a lot of shell bars, and that transmission, I felt I could have done a lot of the same things transmission-wise as well as catching fish-wise using a Carolina rig, like a light Carolina rig, a 3/8, maybe a 1/4 ounce Carolina rig with like a 3 to 4 foot leader. I would have had better bottom connection. I still would have had a pretty free-flowing kind of bait. And it just would have given me a better feel for where I was at, what I was doing, as well as converting those bites. Okay, all the negatives, dude. So I hate the free rig. I probably will not use it that much. A couple cool things. I pitched to a couple fish that were just kind of like swimming around along this pad line that I'd see on active target, or they'd kind of like they're schooling a little, so they'd sploosh. So I pitch it out, and obviously the weight goes to the bottom first, and then the bait kind of hovers. I got a lot of bites doing that. It seemed like that weightless sort of bait well behind the weight kind of thing, dangling around, was super viable. They really liked that. Like they just go straight down to it, but they won't have to go all the way down because the bait's not following the weight, right? It's just kind of floating around. Once again, though, I think you can do that with like a drop shot or a Texas rig that's not pegged. It does sort of have this cool function, I think, if you're fishing current. This lake is a standard Florida natural lake. There's very little current except for wind current. I can see a potential up on the Tennessee River on Guntersville, maybe more on Wheeler, Pickwick, and that, fishing around the dam, where you could use this. You'd have to use a pretty heavy weight, 3/8 to 1/2 ounce or so, but you could use this and allow line to be fed off so your bait is behind the weight, and then bring the bait back to the weight. So you kind of catch it in the current and then you bring it back. You catch it in the current, but we do that with a Carolina rig kind of. You get a little slack line, let the current sweep it away, and then you bring it back and hop it along. I do wonder if this would run a little bit cleaner through some of that stuff, you know, just with a little pencil weight like that, super simple, if it would just drag through some of those rocks better. Those are the potentials and kind of the viable things. I tried a lot of different retrieves. I tried shaking it on slack line to get that bait as it's just kind of falling to kind of twitch in that. Didn't have much success doing that. I did catch a couple doing that. And then just the dragging thing, the side drag seemed to be key. We always talk about 2 different kinds of worm fishing, right? The popping, the up, you know, you got your rod at a 45 and you're popping it along. And then there's kind of like the slow side drag. The slow side drag for me was 100% the deal. It was just kind of, you slow drag it, up, you barely feel the bottom, and then she'd pop it. I'm not a fan though. Dude, I know, I love you guys. I love all you guys that send me messages, and I know a lot of you guys catch them on this. I'm not a fan of the free rig. I don't think it does anything extremely exceptionally above any other rig that I'm using. And I'm such a fan of the Texas rig and how versatile it is that I don't really see a benefit for carrying all these extra weights and having one rigged up. I think you can achieve a lot of the same things with either a light Carolina rig or your standard Texas rig. Just don't put a bobber stopper, don't put a peg on there. If you guys disagree with me, if you've had completely contrary experiences, if I'm missing something with the free rig, I want to know. I want you to bust my balls down in the comments. Drop, tell me, boss, you missed the spot, you missed the window, you missed the target. But I tried to do it in a lot of different ways, and it did not work for me. I'll put links to all this stuff, like the Monster Bass bag we used and all that, down in the description box so you guys can check it out. I hate the free rig. We will see you next time out on the water, talking fishing, probably trying a new rig. Later, boys.